Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Today, we are talking all things habits. So are you at a point in your life where you're like, I really need to develop some habits? Or you might be at a point where you're thinking to yourself, you know what, if I develop some habits, my life would become much more easier and smooth because then there's all of these things that I don't need to think about. So habits are great because they are all built on automaticity. So when things are automatic for us, we don't have to think about it. We don't have to spend too much of our brain capacity doing those things, and we don't have to make choices. So it just makes things a lot easier for us. So in terms of habits, there is a great book by James Clear called Atomic Habits. And in this book, James talks about a strategy to help you build your habits over time so that they become automatic and you don't have to think about it. Because the thing with habits is this: we might have a habit that we want to develop. So for example, for me, it's always drink more water. So I have a habit where I want to drink more water, but when and how do I go about doing that? So I can set alarms on my phone, but the chances are I'm probably going to ignore it, or I don't have my water bottle with me when the alarm goes off, or my days change from day to day. So then it becomes really tricky to kind of go, when am I going to set the alarms for? I could have like post-it notes and reminders, but again, I might not see that reminder with in the same location that my water bottle might be. Try to find a way that makes it easier for you to build these habits is, I think, the hardest bit about habits, or it is for me anyway. So James talks about this strategy called habit stacking. And basically what you're doing is you are taking your existing habits, or another way of talking about that is routines. You're taking your existing routines that you have in your day, and then you are stacking, you're adding a habit on top of that routine so that that habit is always parked next to that existing part of your routine. And so it's easier to then follow through with that action that you want to take, that habit that you want to form, because everything before that habit already happens, because they're already habits, they're already part of your routine. So you're only adding one new piece to this puzzle. And so now you might be like, how does this work? How does this actually work in everyday life? So for example, for me, one of the things I said was drinking water. So one of the things that I've started doing is I have started carrying around my water bottle. But that does not necessarily mean that I'm going to open it and drink from it. So one of the ways that I have habit stacked is I know that when I go to work, I have to get in my car and I've got to drive to work. So I'm in my car, and then obviously I get to work and I get out of my car. So now I am developing habits. So every time I get in the car, I take a mouthful of water. Every time I park my car and before I get out of my car, I take a mouthful of water. So there is at least another 8 to 10, 15 opportunities for me to be drinking more water throughout my week. And it is something that I automatically do. I don't think about getting in and out of cars. It's just part of my routine that I do. So it's an easy one. And I just have to remember to take the water bottle with me. And that was only kind of tricky bit about that routine. Another example is when I get to the office, I have to water the plants. I've got a few plants and I, would normally forget to water them, or I would wait till they start drooping and then go, oh, that's right. What is it about me and water? So what I would say is that for this one, what I had to do was I had to get into the habit of the first day of the week that I go into the clinic, which is usually a Tuesday. I walk into the clinic, I disarm the alarm, I turn on the lights, I drop my bag in my room. These are parts of my usual routine. I take my lunch to the back area, I put my lunch in the fridge, and then I get a jug of water, and then I come back through and I water the plants. So that is part of my Tuesday routine. So if I don't go into work on a Tuesday, then that routine is going to fall apart because it's not necessarily something that I do on a Wednesday or a Thursday. So the drooping plants may be the thing that alerts me to water the plants, but otherwise on a Tuesday, that is now part of my routine. Another example of this is that I wanted to do a little bit more stretching in the morning. So one of the things that I've done is that I know, again, I jump in the shower every single morning. I'm a morning shower. So before I jump in the shower, one of the things that I do is do my stretching. I do my stretching and then I jump in the shower. So that's the way that I was able to use habit stacking to help me to be able to achieve some of those little habits that were going to make me feel better, have better health, or to get things done. So for you, the first place to start is to write a list of the things that you do automatically every single day. It's just part of your routine. Now, this might be for your home life, personal life, and personal habits, or it might be for your work life, but you write down all of the things that you do on an everyday basis, and then write down a list of habits that you want to develop and tackle one habit at a time. You don't want to add too much to your plate all in the one time. And then with that habit, think about where in those routines would you be able to stack or add that habit to. And then what you want to do is the first couple of times you may need an alarm or something like that to remind you, but the fact that you're doing that sequence of events on a regular basis, on a daily basis, should be enough to alert you that this new habit that you've stacked onto it, that you need to do that as part of your sequence. And after enough repetitions, it'll just be part of your existing or your new existing sequence. So that is habit stacking. I highly recommend that you give it a go, because I think that one of the fastest ways to build new habits, and especially around another habit for me was journaling. I am not a journaler. It's never been something that's come easily to me, but I have developed a habit where I journal every morning. And that was just, I had to really think, where in my week, where in my days would I be able to sit and journal? And so for me, I found that it was best time for me was first thing in the morning. So now I get up, I put my glasses on, and I grab out my journal. It's right beside my bed. I grab out my journal, and while I'm waiting for Paul, thankfully, to make me a cup of coffee, I journal. And it's become such a habit that it's quite easy to do. And the only times that I don't tend to do it is if that routine was to break. So for example, if I needed to get up and go straight away and there wasn't that sitting in bed and having a cup of coffee, would be the only time that I wouldn't journal. So I highly recommend having a go with it. Please let me know whether you've had success with it, whether you've tried it before, or when you do go and try it, what habits you've managed to build and stack. As always, there is the free downloadable that goes with this video, so click on the link to get that, and I will speak to you next time. Bye.